We're here today with Mike Young, Managing Director and CEO of Vimy Resources. Mike, thanks for your time.
David, thank you very much and Merry Christmas.
Good to see you, thank you. Now Vimy, clearly in the uranium space, you're a believer. Why didn't you put the pencils down when the market gets tough?
So it's a good question. We, obviously being in the space, we understand the space better than almost everyone outside the space because it actually is it's kind of a dark art, and the market itself is very, I suppose, hidden from general public. So yeah, we do get asked that, why not put your pencils down? And the trick, I think, is to know how many pencils to put down. So yes, you don't want to be going full bore with full staff, and we haven't done that. We've cut back. Some of our staff are part-time. Some of the executives have gone on to salary sacrifice. But on the other hand, you need to have a team ready to go when the market goes, because as I say, it is a bit of a dark market, and we know that there's a structural shortage of uranium coming, and we know that the utilities will start getting back into the market. We don't know when. We know the time frame is, now it's measured on months, not years. So you have to be prepared. And if you aren't prepared, if all you're basically just sitting answering the phones and having a lifestyle, then when the market turns, you'll miss it. And so we want to have that first mover advantage. And when you look around at who's in the space with our peers, there aren't many. So I like to look at it as a Formula One grid, right? And so we're in the top four. So there's 4 cars at the front, ready to go. There's all the guys down the back, including the laggards, and we're up the front of the grid. So, it's a balancing act, but based on the votes we had at the AGM, our shareholders are happy. The REM went through at 99+%. So, we've had feedback from our shareholders, and we've listened, and we've made some adjustments, and I think everyone's happy.
Talking a little bit about the projects, how ready are they and how ready will they be when that shortfall occurs?
Sure, so the Mulga Rock project, which is our most advanced by far, has had a DFS finished on it. We're doing some work on it to make sure that the numbers are still current, so that DFS will be 2 years old in January. But the mining market's been fairly static in terms of salaries, so we wouldn't expect the numbers to change much. Nothing will change on the processes. There's been no step change in uranium processing that will change. Mining will be the same. It's actually a very simple operation and technically low risk. That's got all its major approvals, so tenements, it doesn't have native title over it, although we do have support of people who speak for that country. And in it also has the all-important federal and state environmental permits. We're now working through the secondary permits, so that's like your mining approvals, your conditional management plans, and those are done at a bureaucratic level. And provided the project doesn't veer away from what we promised we would do under the public environmental review, it won't come up against the government's opposition to uranium, and we'll get the secondary approvals done. So by mid-year, if the uranium price were suddenly to flick like that and we had all the money to build the project, we would be underway in June. As it is, it's likely that the market will recover slowly during the year. We'll start writing contracts. The project needs contracts to support debt. It's a contract-led project. So we would be, in an ideal world, we would be into construction late next year, being 2020, early 21.
And how advanced or how regular are the discussions with potential end users and potential funders?
That's a great question. We have actually hired someone in the States. So Cameco, back when the uranium price had really fallen, they decided to take a view of downsizing their entire operation globally. We were the beneficiaries of that. We picked up a project in the Northern Territory, but we also picked up a vice president of marketing from Cameco in the States named Scott Hyman. So he's been with us for about 18 months. So Scott worked for 17 years with a US utility buying uranium, and then he was 13 years with Cameco and selling uranium. So 30 years in the US industry. Everyone knows him, everyone likes him. So we've had him at the utilities, talking to them about when and how much. And the one thing we have done is we have established that in America, which is about 28% of the entire global market, there is a market big enough for us to just concentrate on America. Now it's just a matter of price. The utilities want to buy juniors uranium. They diversify their supply as much as they can to mitigate risk, because their number one rule is never run out of uranium. Price is secondary.
Looking forward, what should investors focus on from Vimy over the next 6 or 12 months?
So there's basically two news streams. One will be contracts. So that'll be a major catalyst for us. So when we start announcing contracts. But the second stream is the exploration in the Northern Territory. So we do have a project in the Territory called the Alligator River Project. The Alligator River province is geologically very similar to a Canadian uranium province called the Athabasca, which is where some of the largest, well, the largest deposits in the world occur. The Alligator River, very similar geology. It has two large deposits, Ranger and Jabiluka, which are absolutely world class. Sadly, won't be mined. But we're in Kakadu. We're not in Kakadu, sorry. We're over in Arnhem Land. And we have the support of the Aboriginal people, and now we're doing exploration up there. We have a resource called Angularly, 26 million pounds, very high grade, 1.3%. So we're looking for those sorts of targets, and we have a lot of exploration targets to follow up. So there'll be, exploration news, which is always exciting, and then there'll be the development news of Mulga Rock.
A company clearly focused on a long-term plan, ready to roll when the prices change. Exciting times ahead. Mike, thanks for your time.
Thank you, David. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.